issues as well. While ACA is often the only program for many adult children, ACA is not a replacement for addicts working a program in Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, or Cocaine Anonymous. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Laurie. So take it away, Laurie.
Thank you, Tom. Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to be able to share my journey into ACA, because there's really not many programs of 12 steps that I haven't been in before this. And I just am so addicted to so many different things that working on ACA work was kind of at the last part of my journey. But let me go on with my childhood. And Tom, I'm sorry, can you change up my screen? I don't think I'm able to. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Got it. So anyway, I'm Laurie, adult child. My childhood may have looked good on paper, but underneath it was filled with chaos, abandonment, and neglect. My grandfather moved his wife and baby daughter to Hollywood as he worked with Joseph Kennedy producing movies in the 1920s. The family was pretty wealthy, living with servants in Beverly Hills. My mom was a singer with a beautiful voice, and my dad was a radio personality and disc jockey when they met. Everyone thought it was a perfect match. And they got married at the Little Church of Hollywood in Hollywood, California. And it was a dream. Their marriage did last for 18 years. And 3 children later, of which I was the youngest, we were all 5 years apart, which I thought was pretty cool. And I forgot to ask my mom if that was planned or what happened with that. But when I was a little girl, I was very skinny and I was very timid and shy. And every picture I have of that era, I'm just like, don't look at me. I don't want to see, don't ask me a question. And that's just kind of the way I was. And so well, let's go on to something else. I'm sorry. So anyway, I was the shy, timid child, and why my dad thought it was a good idea to put me on a stage on his radio program to sing a song. I don't know why he thought that was good. Maybe he thought it was going to bring me out of my shell. However, it didn't do that. All it did was make me go back more into myself. I remember to this day that I stood on the stage. I could see all the people out in the audience, even though it was a radio show. And I just froze. And my dad was off to the side going, Laurie, Mary had a little. I couldn't do it. So it was a really bad day. And aside from that, I lost my mom's beautiful silver bracelet that she had given me that day to make me feel special. And I left it in the bathroom when I was washing my hands, and somebody must have took it. And then when I got home, my neighbors across the street, which were very, very outgoing, everyone was loud and, like they weren't Italian, but, you get that image. And he would always ask me, Laurie, when you ever gonna amount to anything? So when I came across the street, they laughed and laughed themselves silly at what a horrible job I had done on that show. So I didn't really want to do anything like that ever again. So that just confirmed my opinion of myself as a no talent failure. So my parents and grandparents bought houses side by side. And when my parents got divorced, I moved just right next door. It was pretty convenient. However, I was like the only child. My sister immediately got married. She left this whole chaos as soon as she could. My poor brother got shifted and shuffled all around. And me, I lived with my grandparents, except when my mom had me live with her and each of her four new husbands. So I had one dad and four stepdads. And I never knew why things didn't work out with my mom and one of those guys. I just suddenly ended up at my grandparents again. And I asked why, but I was always told, oh, you wouldn't understand. You're too young. We'll tell you when you're older. So I actually lived in Chicago, Wichita, Kansas, Azusa, Pasadena, and some that I can't even remember. My stable home in my neighborhood was really a godsend. My grandparents, I'm sorry, I had lots of friends there, and we actually had a pool at the end of the street, which everybody paid into. And so that was just wonderful. My grandparents were very loving, but they were kind of hands off with me. You know, I mean, I knew they loved me, but we weren't a kind of family there that hugged or, you know, said, oh, I love you, or, you know, anything like that. So I was so sad inside being like the last one of the family left alone. And when my mom was off with her husbands, I just felt like she loved men more than me. And it really didn't do a whole lot for my self-esteem. um, and I really felt like an orphan or a lonely only child. So you can imagine what I got up to during my young adult life. A lot of shenanigans were had. Anything or anyone to fill that enormous empty space inside of me. And when I met my kid's dad in 1978, I stopped all my shenanigans and I dedicated myself to being the best wife and mom I could be. But how would I know what a good husband looks like? I really wouldn't. No one showed me. I mean, there was all these TV shows on, you know, Father Knows Best and all those things. And so I kind of looked at those things like that's what normal families look like. And then I would always go over to my friends' homes and have dinner there or, you know, just hang out there. And I watched what their dads were like. So I was constantly looking for what men looked like in families, what dads looked like, what brothers looked like. And so when I got married, I had undiagnosed postpartum depression after my second child. And I come to find out I had married a narcissist. So we divorced after 6 years and putting my children in a similar life situation that I had. And that makes me very, very sad. Their dad also kind of never looked back. And, you know, I'm sure it affected my daughter and my son very deeply. And I tried to be both, you know, mom and dad, and we were poor. And I mean, just looking back now in ACA and seeing what healthy families look like, I can now make amends to my kids in very specific ways, not just saying to them, oh, I'm sorry that, you know, that happened or whatnot. You know, now I know I am so sorry that you couldn't come to me with your really, really sad feelings because you knew that I couldn't take it. I already had enough sad feelings, and how that impacted them is something that I really didn't understand until just a few years ago. But I'm grateful to be understanding that now. It's never too late. That's what I think. So it took me many years and many mistakes before finding my first 12-step program here in San Luis Obispo, and that was AA in 2009. I had a wonderful sponsor who also helped me through my opiate addiction. As I went to NA a couple times, and it just scared the bejesus out of me. There was a lot of young meth kids in there, and everybody said F you and F you that. And I was just like, you know, I looked like me, and I've always been like a preschool teacher, and I just felt like I did not fit in there one bit. So I was grateful that she did help me in that way as well. So after a few years, I felt ready to tackle my food addiction. Like I said, if there's anything that you can be addicted to, and I didn't even go into the whole shopping thing. That was just way, way too much. But if there's something, so I worked the steps with my OA sponsor, and I learned a lot from all of these programs. And I'm really grateful for my, I'm sorry, for my recovery from substances. I still had so many questions about life, though, even after years, really. Will I ever feel worthy and not less than? That was a big question for me. Why would I be worthy if everyone in my family pretty much didn't value me? And why do I startle so easy? That was a big, when I started noticing that at work, if someone came around the corner and surprised me, I startled and I thought, okay, what weird thing is that? Why do you keep doing that? And I found my answer in ACA. And I always wonder, what do normal people do in this situation? Any situation, really. What does normal look like? And I don't mean some highfalutin normal. I mean, what do healthy people look like? What do healthy moms and dads and families look like? And can I truly ever trust my intuition and my decisions? That took me a long time, because as you learn in AA, your best thinking is what got you here. So I really have to pause and think to myself, who is making this decision? Is it really my authentic self, or is it that shenanigan, drama, chaos, Laurie? So I've learned to pause, which is really quite unusual for me. When will I stop feeling guilty and selfish if I do something for myself? I still hear my sister's voice saying, "You are so selfish. You live with our grandparents and they give you an allowance and blah, 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 blah." And I hear my brother saying, excuse my French, but you are such a fuck up. That's what he actually said to me. And when I called him out on that a couple of years ago, he just laughed and said, "Oh, I know, I was such a jerk." That doesn't really cover it. So he lives out of state. I don't see him very often, but definitely the next time the situation is right, I need to tell him, you really need to apologize to me, not just give me that blanket statement of, "Oh yeah, I know, I was such a," and a couple other things too. He put me in a trash can one time and rolled me down our street. We lived at the top of a hill. No, it was not a metal trash can. It was like cardboard. And luckily, as I started rolling, I went into a curve and I hit somebody's driveway and I stopped. But I just tell him about things like that. And he's like, like that. I just want to smack him. And yeah. And so not now, but I think he's really softened a bit. But several years ago, he would always say, "Don't be such a baby. It wasn't that bad," And I heard that in my head when I started with ACA, and it really kind of delayed progress until I realized that it was him, and I realized that I don't have to listen to him. I can make my own choices, and that he's just as screwed up as a brother can be, and it's my life, not his. So that really has helped, and it's from coming to ACA that I have found the courage and the strength within myself to actually know what I like and know what I feel. And it didn't happen the first week I was in these rooms, and it didn't happen the first month. but every time I come to a meeting, somebody says something that just hits me. And it was the perfect thing that I needed to hear at that moment. And it's just amazing to me that that happens every single time. I never come from a meeting and go, God, what a waste of time that was. I'm never going to do that again. No, it's always exactly the opposite. And we are such a improving lot. You know, when we came here, when I read the laundry list for the first time, I was just like all of you, I was just like, whoa, that's me exactly. How did they know all that? And the same thing with the problem, you know, wow. And it wasn't this deep for me in other programs, although I did get a lot out of those programs. And things that I must say for AA and OA, I saw people who were recovering and who were healing. And like, especially in AA, I saw guys that suited up and showed up. And they were the example. They came all the time to show newcomers what it looked like. And that was really important for me to see that. The first time I went to my first AA meeting, I asked this old guy, I heard your share. You've been coming here, what, 23 years? What's up? What's up? Are you still not cured? You're still not healed or what? And he laughed a little bit and said, you know, I come here for one reason. I'm like, what? The newcomers. And I never forgot that he said that. And it's just so true. I saw recovery in OA too. And I myself was a sponsor and recovered, but I relapse in OA like in none of my other programs. It's so hard. And once I get started on sugar, once I stop praying or meditating, once I just get lazy about my program and I don't read anything, I don't, you know what it looks like, how it feels to just not really try for a while because you're just, whoa, so tired of it, or just so tired of everything. You know, it's like work. It is. You're not going to get healed from, you know, going on a floaty and laying in the middle of the lake. You know, I mean, that's awesome. And it's a great thing to do that. But, you know, we need to work. And it's not always fun. Not fun at all. Sometimes we have to, we have to work with our memories, and we have to work with things that we've been hiding from for a long time. And I have had some things come to me that I totally forgot about. And I've had the same, I'm working with my best friend right now. And oh my gosh, we've been friends for 40 something years. And only through the past 6 weeks of working together, we're both finding out things that we did not know about that other person. And we are talking and asking questions through our workbooks that we never asked each other. And it's fascinating and it's awesome. And it is so heartwarming to see another person going through the same thing that you are and getting better and improving and liking yourself and liking life a lot better. It's really exciting. And she thought at the first of ACA that it was just going to be, oh yeah, you'll get a few things out, talking to other people, and then you'll be on your merry way and you'll be good. And that's that pink cloud of recovery that they talk about, especially in AA. And she said that one time, and I'm just like, oh brother, what am I going to do about that? So we waited a while, and then we talked about it some more. And she's like, well, why do I want to bring up memories that are painful? Why would I want to do that? Well, we all know the answer, but you can't keep compartmentalizing things in a little drawer in your big cupboard and think that you've dealt with it. Um, it doesn't just go away. And a lot of people have said that the body keeps track. And, you know, the weirdest thing happened to me when I was telling her how my mom used to always call me a pain in the neck, not meanly or anything, but no, Laurie, I don't know, you're such a pain in the neck. And I realized that for years, I actually had a pain in my neck when I thought about certain things. It was actually there in my body. Isn't that something? I mean, it was just like, duh, Laurie. So every time we work this program, something comes out. And thank God we have a way to get through it and then, you know, not always have it like this coming around our head and our brains, you know. We work through it, and with our higher powers help and all of our friends here, we get healed from that. And we can do that time and time again with every single thing that comes up. And that's why we have to think about things that maybe aren't pleasant.
3 minutes.
And, you know, that's why we can't just let things go. We want to become, at the end of this, our authentic selves, our true selves. Because I think that's what my higher power, and yours undoubtedly too, wants you to be. He doesn't want us all groveling around, just hating ourselves and hating everybody else and just hating. No, that's not why we're here. So it's been so filled with gratitude being in this program and feeling like finally I met my tribe, that you people I can be real with, not like when I'm at work and you have to present yourself in a certain way, but real. And we know things about ourselves, ourselves and each other that we know that will stay in these rooms. They are not going anywhere, and there's not anyone in these rooms that's going to go, oh, that's really weird. I don't think I want this program. So anyway, I'll end this with just saying how it's really been life-changing for me, especially to be in ACA. And I just love all you guys so much. And we are real with each other. And that is just such a blessing in my life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thanks, Laurie.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Laurie has agreed to questions if anybody has a question, and we'll go from there. If you have something, you can raise your actual hand or an electronic hand. Yeah, Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa. ACA. Thank you so much for your share. I really got a lot out of that. And a question actually popped up in my brain while you were speaking. And I also joined AA back in 1992. And, you know, and some of the stuff I thought I had dealt with, and it still seems to affect me. And I guess the question that popped up while you were sharing is, how do I know when I've dealt with it? You know, it's like some of this stuff, it's like, how many times do I need to go over it? How do I don't know, you know, and I know the body keeps a score. You know, my body did some crazy things as a result of some traumas that I experienced. And it was incredible, you know, how the healing started taking place the first time I went into therapy for things. But anyway, that's all I had. You know, I really enjoyed it. And I think this might be my first time at this meeting, and it won't be my last. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for your question, Lisa. I forgot to mention that in ACA, our goal is called emotional sobriety. That's something I'd never heard of. And when I came here, I was like, you know what? Oh, that's what's been missing. I've got these substances semi under control. Now I work on my emotional sobriety. I'd never heard of it. And I also think that another way to tell if you've been healed from some of your trauma is to just quiet yourself like you would for meditation, maybe have nice soft music on, or oh, I also forgot my dollies. Oh well, just sit down and let that come to you and see what feelings come up. What I hope for is a feeling of neutrality in all things that used to just be make me crazy and make me scared, and so I used to think that being neutral and being content was boring. Now it's my goal to be content. That is such a beautiful thing. So yeah, see if that works for you.
Yeah, Kim.
I have a question, and my question for you is, do you still go to all of your other meetings? And if so, like, what does that look like with ACA? How frequently, or does it change with time? I'm just curious how you find it works for you best.
Especially since COVID and so many things are on Zoom, and I haven't really been to an AA meeting, gosh, in years now. But I'm so grateful for my sponsor in that program, but I feel pretty neutral about alcohol. I mean, it's been since 2009 and I just don't even think about it. I don't want it. And my roommate has like 2 boxes of booze in the laundry room. And I look at it and just go, eh. So no is the answer to that. And like NA, not going to go there. However, OA, occasionally I do go, and actually I think I need to go a little bit more because I am having some trouble with sugar, and it's hard for me to get off that once because it's such a dopamine hit in your brain. And so yeah, and like I said, if you find yourself kind of slipping away from all the things we know that keep us healthy, yeah, I need to go back to OA. But yeah, I especially am, of course, concentrating on ACA right now because of the so many issues. I did want to say that working on the inner child has been part of my life that has been really challenging to go there in the first time. But I got the doll that my mom had bought for me a long time ago to kind of represent my inner child when I was doing that work. And she's Poor Pitiful Pearl is her name. And when I was a kid, I actually looked like her. And so when I got her, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But then I thought, hey, is that what my mom thought I'd look like? And she thought that I would feel better about myself seeing Poor Pitiful Pearl. So now I said just a couple months ago, I'm like, no, this is going to be my new little Laurie, and I'm going to work with her on my inner child work, not Poor Pitiful Pearl. So between this dolly and my little dog, I feel safer, I guess, going there with something to hold on to. And also the recommendations that they give in one of our workbooks, but figure out what helps you when you're going there. Going there, we know what that means. So sometimes hot tea or music is good too. Anyway, thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? And if people want to share, they're welcome to do that as well. Okay, well, I think we're gonna, turn off the recording and wrap it up. So thank you so much, Laurie, and thank you all for being here. This really is the work that makes it all work. So with that,